Andrew, it's fitting that we're having this conversation today about the relationship between piano and ballet, as you've just been officially appointed as the company's new principal pianist. Congratulations and welcome to the Australian Ballet. You've been with us for a few months. Have you got any highlights? What have been your favourite things about working with the company so far?
I think the variety of repertoire we do here is fantastic. In the last 6 months, we've covered everything from the classical ballets like Don Q to the kind of more contemporary season with Identity, and now we're working on the Balanchine ballets with Jules, and also being able to step into the studio each day and play these wonderful pianos. As you know, we're sponsored by Kawai. We're very fortunate, and our pianos aren't good, they're great. I mean, yesterday we went into the theatre and it was a piano I'd never played before, and as you know, we just sat there for about half an hour and marvelled at how beautiful the sound is. And as a pianist, that's a real privilege, as sometimes, you know, we have to use what's in front of us, and to be using the best materials out there really
That's
makes
really
a big
interesting
difference.
because it must be, I mean, I can't imagine what our wonderful dancers would how they would react if they walk in the studio and go, here are a pair of shoes you've never touched before, now dance in them. What must it be like to go from instrument to instrument, even though they're all by Kawai and they're all, like you say, not just good, they're great, but there must be quite a difference in between.
I mean, there is, from things like the touch, there's pianos that have been played a lot, so feel just, you know, really easy, to pianos that maybe haven't been played so much, so feel a bit kind of, you know, you have to work a bit harder. And the sound can vary hugely. For example, today we're in a studio that's quite boomy, so actually, like, when you play, you don't want to use very much pedal, to the studio upstairs, which is very dry, and although there's a much bigger piano, you have to respond in a much more differently. My first class was kind of a real eye-opener. So like, as a ballet pianist, we go into the class with a field of repertoire and a field of music, but we can't decide on a certain day, I'm going to play X for pliés, or I'm going to play X for adage, because it really depends what the teacher wants. So on that day, you might have decided you want to play something, and then they come in and decide they're setting, you know, Rond de Jambe on a 4, as I had the other day. So you kind of have to have your kind of wits about you, and also be able to improvise pretty well, so you can get yourself out of most situations.
So what do you think marks out somebody who is just competent at playing for class to somebody who is really good? The difference between facilitating and inspiring, like, is it because it's more than just about getting the right tempo, isn't it?
Yeah, it's about getting the right feel for the exercise, so that we're not just, for example, like if I was playing for like a fast jeté exercise or something, and I just kind of went,
Complete with a boring face expression.
yes. That's fine, but actually if they're going 1 and 2, I might more want to be something like, something that catches the feel and the spirit of the exercise a bit more. I think it's a bit easy sometimes for class to come a bit banal, and it's the chance for the dancers to warm up, and a lot of them say for them it's kind of it's the best hour of the day, because they get to come in, they get to be a bit freer, they get to dance to kind of live music, and it's kind of our job to kind of set them up for the day.
Yes, exactly. It's about setting up for the day, because after class, you as a pianist then take on a different role when you go into the ballet rehearsal studio.
Yeah.
And I think we're very fortunate that here at the Australian Ballet we've got wonderful instruments to play on as well, these beautiful Kawai pianos. Incidentally, my very first piano was a Kawai. I remember that very well. I remember that moment of that, also that very unique sound. How did you fall in love with piano in the first place?
I began, our first piano at home was a piano someone in the village was throwing out. My mum's a bit of a kleptomaniac, so when she sees something getting thrown out, it kind of hurts her soul. So we acquired a piano for the living room. And I think it was one of my primary teachers that phoned up my mum and said, I think you should get him some piano lessons. So I went to piano lessons, and that was that. I mean, I was lucky that I grew up in the Highlands in a really musical village. So while there wasn't maybe the most classical music going on, I was surrounded by music all the time. And I don't think I realized how unusual that kind of environment is until I left to kind of move to a city and realized kind of what a fortunate upbringing I had to be kind of surrounded by music.
Well, speaking of surrounded by music, I think we have to go back to our day of being surrounded by eclectic varieties of music. But thank you for your time, Andrew.
Thank you.